it's so much more powerful to be positive than it is to be negative all the time. Granted, there's times you got to be negative, you got to be hard, but I think it's so important to be positive too. People need to remember that.
Yeah.
In relationships too, like
yeah,
like it takes zero effort to be nice to somebody. Sometimes it takes, you gotta, drop your ego a little bit, but.
You are my paradise, I can't deny. You make me high. You are my paradise, I can't deny. You make me high. You are my
Welcome to the Matt and Monica podcast. This is episode 4, taking off from episode 1, kind of rewinding, kind of continuing.
Yeah, talking kind of more along the lines of relationships and maybe a little bit where we left off for the most part.
Yeah, we talked about a handful of stuff on episode 1 about how we first met and little ups and downs we may have had. And I just kind of want to elaborate on how we got through any bumps in the road we may have had.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically talking about maybe the week that we had that was very, very hard. When we didn't talk for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was extremely hard on us. It was extremely hard on myself. Not talking to you. It was awful. So, babe.
No, it was hard for me too. But
yeah, because I was just thinking about you the whole entire time and just wondering if you're thinking about me.
Yeah, I think that when people are fighting in general, they're always wondering if the other person's thinking about them,
or if they're happy and happy without talking to them.
Yeah.
And that's the unknown, and that's why it's so hard, because there's no communication. And so I just want to talk about how we kind of got through it, because I know a lot of times a lot of couples go through very, very hard times, and not saying that there's a right or wrong way to communicate or get through your pain and troubles, but we just want to talk about how we got through it. So I think after the first episode, we talked about how I went to your old work, we talked and stuff, and he came to where I was living at my mom's house.
Yep.
And that was a pretty emotional night for myself, and I know for you too.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you take into consideration back then, like, again, like here I am, I'm coming into the picture with 3 kids, super insecure about, as broke as broke could be. Never in a million years would I have thought we've, be where we are today by any means.
Yeah.
But, so I think that should really help people stay positive, because I never would have thought we would have, like, not that you and I wouldn't have been successful together, but I wouldn't have ever thought things would be as good as they are now.
Right. You got to think where you are in your relationship with someone. If you're having a really, really hard time, take a step back and realize, like, you are fully capable of changing your situation. It may take time and a lot of effort. And if it's one-sided, then you have to change your, not situation, but, and I'm not saying leave the person, but you got to communicate and see where you're at, because if it doesn't match up, then you got to make a decision. If it does kind of match up, compromise. There's always,
if it's toxic, like, people know when you're in a toxic relationship and it's not going to work, and there's like wasting time and never getting that time back. And if nothing else, staying with somebody that's toxic and being in a toxic relationship, that's going to make you a worse person.
Yeah. So that's like a whole other chunk of this conversation, I guess we could start with too, is in a toxic relationship where you're miserable and you don't feel loved, or if the other person doesn't feel loved by you, if you guys aren't compatible, that's okay. You can move on. And what I hate a lot in this world is when people stay together for the kids. Like, that's my own opinion, because if you're fighting and negative and sad and depressed all the time, your kids feel it and they know things aren't right, and it's going to hurt your children. If you can separate and get along, your kids can see that it's okay to separate, and it's better for your kids, I think, to not stay in a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that do, or a lot of people that have.
But people are also quick to throw in the towel sometimes, and they got to
Yes.
realize, like we did, we are able to work shit out. Like, just because you run into a hurdle doesn't mean you need to throw your relationship away. And I think if you do have kids, you know, that's one of the things. Like, you're 100% right. I think you should never, ever in a million years stay with somebody for kids. But it's a reason to put more effort into trying to make things work.
Yes. And I think it definitely depends on what the issue is.
Yeah.
Also.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is it depends on this and this and this and this. So, and every situation is different.
Yeah.
Definitely different. And if you want to work it out and you don't know how, there's always so much help out there too. So back to our relationship, honestly, I think I said it before. I don't remember when it was bad like that. I don't remember, like, all of a sudden it was good. It was like perfect. And I don't remember that time. It's like back in my brain somewhere in my memories, I guess. I don't remember being like, oh, we're going to work on this and work on that and having a talk about it. Like that night, I remember talking about what we want to work on it. But other than that, I just remember you starting to live with me, and it was awesome. If she
forgives me for this, I better stay with this one.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, I said before that I'm very quick to just be like, done. And you're like, well, are you really? Because you weren't with me. And I said, because this was so different.
Yeah.
So different. And with past relationships, I'm like, get out. In a heart, like I didn't even see the person. I called get out. You know, I don't have time for that. I have 2 kids to worry about, and my sanity and my heart and their hearts, you know. So I just was very quick to say bye. But with you, it was so different.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you felt like how did you feel when I was like, let's make this kind of work? Were you like, wait, what? Like, really? After all that?
Yeah.
Or did you kind of expect it?
I just remember being shocked, and I just didn't want to make the wrong decision to hurt you, because I was just like not sure in my head. I don't know. I was going through a lot at that point in time. So
yeah. Well, that's got to be hard because you didn't even really know what you wanted exactly.
Yeah. And it didn't like discredit how I felt about you. It was just, I was just in a rough spot. Yeah.
Yeah, you're human and you have this big, huge heart, and I know you don't want to hurt anybody too.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that was probably a big part of it, is not wanting to hurt her, not wanting to hurt you type of thing.
I'm sure. Because like no matter what, like you're so forgiving to people and not wanting to hurt people, like more than anybody I think I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
You're so kind. And that is a really, really good quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't remember when it just went good, and it was good for a while. And it's amazing now. But after a really long time, we wanted to move.
Yeah. So
out of my mom's basement, and we moved so we could get your kids.
Yeah.
Half the time. Moved my kids out of their school and stuff, which was very, very rough, but so worth it. And they did amazing moving to the school that they went to.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I felt horrible for the longest time about that whole thing.
I did too.
Moving them out of their school district. Like that was probably one of the more difficult times in my life.
Yeah, that hurt my heart really, really bad, but I knew it was going to be for the best. And you know, you have to also, you got to think about your kids, but you got to think about yourself too. And it's okay to think about yourself too. I think a lot of parents are my kids come first, but you also kind of have to come first, because if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of your kids? If you're not happy, your kids are going to see that and feel it, and they're not going to be happy.
Yep.
You know, so, we moved into this beautiful house that I just love so much, and things just kind of took off. Like it just, it just kept going up and up and up, and it continues to go up. And
not saying like, not that we haven't had real struggle, and like, you know, our relationship's not perfect. It's perfect to me. I wouldn't change anything, you know? And we were actually talking about like fighting, like how to fight earlier, and like that's one thing I think we are really good at, because in my past relationships, I've always remember where you get along great. Then when you learn to bicker and you get into arguments, you start saying things to each other that, you know, you try to hurt each other's feelings. And it's like every time you fight, it's a little worse. And then eventually it's like, it's just toxic.
Because when you're saying stuff, when you're so hurt and the other person's so hurt, you each try to say stuff to hurt you a little bit more because you want to win.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be about winning. Like the couple, you each have to step back and think, all right, what is the issue?
Mm-hmm.
And how are we talking to each other? What words are we using? Why are we saying such hurtful things to each other, which we shouldn't, because you don't really mean it. So why say that? That just makes everything so much worse. So just like sit down and talk. Don't yell, don't scream, don't throw things, definitely don't get physical. It should never escalate to that ever. Throwing stuff, even if you don't touch each other, don't throw shit. That's just not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Watch your words, because words can usually hurt more than anything.
Or if you fuck up, be quick to apologize. Like, that's the thing. So many people in this world, they do stuff and they don't
own your shit. Yeah. We're human. We all fuck up. I fuck up.
That is something I've learned this year more than anything. Like, people do things that are so wrong, and they will rationalize their bad decisions, and they'll blame everybody else but themselves. Like, I've always taken pride in, admitting when I've done things wrong.
Being honest.
And,
Yes.
Have integrity.
We try to instill that in our kids, integrity and just being the best person you can be. And when you're wrong, no matter how hard it is, and it's hard to fight that, but sometimes you're wrong.
Not really. People I think it's mistakes. Very easy to.
For most people, it's extremely hard to say, hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry.
I've been literally criticized for that most of my life. I'm so quick to throw myself under the bus.
I don't think it's a bad quality.
It's not, but there's times I could have just not said stuff.
I guess it depends on the situation. Just not say anything at all. But when it comes to relationships, it kind of should be out there. I feel like should be pretty like an open book with each other.
Yeah, no, absolutely with each other.
Yeah. And people shouldn't be scared to talk to each other if you're in a relationship. Because I feel like that
is the thing. So... I was listening to a podcast, and it was I believe it was Jordan Peterson, and I think I may have touched on this before, but he was talking about how people are real with each other. Like it's not normal. It's very uncommon for a couple to be 100% real about anything.
Everything.
To the extent there are nothing hidden about nothing's hidden, in the relationship.
So it's like, how many of you have your phone locked? And how many of your significant others are allowed to go on your phone anytime and know your code?
Oh, man, we're starting fights tonight. Oh, somebody's going to be fighting.
Honestly, I think if you're with someone, you love that person, 100%. It should be 100% trust. And you should right now hand your phone to your significant other and say, go through
that's fucked up.
Everything. It's not fucked up because I would do that right now
I know,
to you. Go through everything. I have nothing to hide. And if anything is like weird, it'd be like, I can't even.
It's going to make the news. There's going to be like a massive exodus from relationships. Everyone's breaking up everywhere, just fighting.
I'm so sorry.
Domestic disputes in every county.
Oh, Lord.
Let's assuming this actually goes somewhere. Please don't bark, Samus. No.
Samus is okay? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I really didn't think about that, but I think it's extremely important to be open like that. And
yeah. If you don't have anything to hide, it's like people like, oh, but we should have our own privacy. Okay, have your own privacy, I guess. Do whatever you want. But
but to a point, if your significant other, for some reason, maybe is like, oh, you're acting kind of weird. Maybe it was nothing. Can I go through your phone or through your messages or whatever? And if you're like, no, I'd be like, okay, you're hiding something. That's weird.
Yeah. You know how many people I can see right now, if a husband and wife's watching, it's like, all right, we're going to...
Give me your phone right now. Yeah. We're going to do that. Swap phones right now. Or one or the other is going to be like, give me your phone. That's so crazy. Sorry.
We are focusing.
Not really sorry at all. Okay, anyway. But I think just communicating with each other.
Our dog sees somebody walking outside, so she's growling. Apologize. Samus, come here. Come over here.
Come on.
Get over here. Okay, never mind. That didn't work. All right.
She looks ginormous.
Yeah, she does.
Sit.
No, wait, she's not looking out the window.
Okay, good girl. Yeah. So we moved here, and not saying we don't ever have ups and downs, because we do.
Yeah.
But we talk about it, and I'll say this guy right here is super good at being like, I was wrong, or what you're saying is true. If I'm like, why did you do this or whatever, and I don't really bitch a lot. I don't feel like I bitch a lot.
No.
Right? Okay,
No.
that makes me feel good.
I've always said you're not even a real woman because you don't. That's
I'm a real woman, but yeah, I don't feel like a bitch a lot. I try to be.
The weird thing about you is the most crazy thing I've ever noticed is that when I actually have an issue or when I address anything, you actually listen to my point of view. Like,
Aww.
That's pretty weird.
I try to. Is it?
No, it should be everybody, but it's just.
Yeah. I try to listen, and I try to be very. I guess it's a huge thing for me. If anyone talks to me about anything, I put myself in your position, like in your shoes, and I try to feel like what it's like what you're feeling, and how would I handle it, or how hard it might be for you to come to me and tell me things, which can be hard sometimes. You know, it should be easy, but sometimes it's hard or embarrassing if stuff happens or whatever. But I try to stay calm. I don't feel like I freak out a lot.
Yeah.
So if people have the balls to come up to you and talk to you about stuff, if they did something wrong, just remember, like, it probably took a lot of guts to tell you.
Yeah,
you know?
People don't seem to have guts nowadays.
They don't, but the ones that do and try to talk to you about stuff, I think if you freak out on them all the time, they're not going to come to you for anything. They're going to hide stuff from you.
Yeah, that's a caveat to it.
Yeah, so you're training people how to treat you, really, or how to act with you.
Yep.
I feel. Same thing with kids, you know. Don't yell at them all the time about stuff. You need to love them too. And adults are the same.
That's another thing. Praise, and that can apply to kids. It can apply to relationships.
Yes.
It should apply to everything. It applied to my dogs today. I took my dogs for a run, which is a nightmare with both of them.
Yeah,
but
hard.
As I'm sitting there yelling at them, come on, stop
Pulling
yanking on the leash and
yeah.
stuff. And next thing you know, I'm like, I'm yelling at them an awful lot. And the moment I praise the dogs, they just seem to listen so much better. And it's like, it's so much more powerful to be positive than it is to be negative all the time. You know, granted, there's times you got to be negative, you got to be hard, but I think it's so important to be positive too. People need to remember that.
Yeah.
In relationships too, like it takes zero effort to be nice to somebody. You know, sometimes it takes, you gotta, drop your ego a little bit, but yeah.
Yes, definitely. And I also think when people do come to you about stuff, when you're angry, watch the words that you say, because you kind of make people think, if you're putting people down for coming to you and trying to explain themselves to you and stuff like that, just don't put them down while they're doing that, because they're trying to do the right thing. So if your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, come to you to talk to you about stuff, first of all, listen.
If anybody's going to talk to somebody about anything awkward, like, it's already uncomfortable. There's no reason to assume that person's not already going out of their way to be getting this awkward conversation where something's bothering them.
Just don't interrupt them too. Like, listen to them.
I just interrupted you.
You do all the time, but don't interrupt them and let them talk, and then go back and forth or whatever. But sometimes when people tell me things, sometimes I do interrupt too, because I think in my mind, if I talk to you about, oh, I understand that, this is what happened to me too before, then I feel like they maybe connect with me a little bit. Like, I actually do understand.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But maybe I need to do better about not interrupting too sometimes when people are telling me things. But I don't know. That's hard sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. I think also being in a comfortable place when people are talking. I don't know, like in relationships, if you're in a relationship and it's scary or whatever, or
what do you mean?
Like physical maybe,
oh, yeah,
or abusive mentally or physically or any which way, if you want to confront someone, make sure you're comfortable. You don't have to confront someone in your home if that's your danger zone. Go somewhere else, Okay, so anyway, back to our stuff. So even now to this day, I feel like we don't really fight a lot. We have a fighting star in our ceiling, which is the cutest thing ever. You want to tell that? Because
Not
that was
at
your
all.
idea. I do. I love it.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of like a sticky note somewhere, just like a reminder. Like if we're ever bickering and fighting and stuff like that, we just have something on our ceiling. If we look at it, and if we haven't said anything to each other and tried to fix the problem, whoever looks at it first has to say something.
It's so corny. There's so many people like, really?
I don't care because it works. And I guarantee if anyone does something similar, it's hopefully would work as long as you hold truth to it. And there's just one major thing too, I think, which is wicked important, is when you guys are fighting and bickering all day for whatever reason, don't go to bed angry.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
Not that we've never done that, but, you know, like we try our best not to. And like, especially after this year, you know, when you really realize how quickly life can change in a blink of an eye.
Granted.
Yeah.
Like, look at each other, even if you're still fighting, and just be like, I love you. Hug each other, kiss each other, and say, okay, I love you too. If we need to continue this conversation tomorrow, that's fine, but at least you guys just have to.
Sorry, I was just thinking about fighting. I was just thinking about the last time I slept on the couch, which was not because we were fighting. It was because Arrow.
Actually, yeah, because Mel came upstairs and she was like, who's on the couch? What, were they fighting last
night?
No.
Arrow was.
She had an accident.
She had a dinosaur diarrhea, disgusting soft poop in our bedroom in the middle of the night, and it's my fault. She told me she needed to go outside. I just misread it. I didn't talk about that in the last episode, did I? I hope not.
I don't know.
Sorry. Anyway, it's that burned into my head. It was so I can handle crap.
That cute little thing, yeah.
So bad.
It was an accident, so we couldn't yell at her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think fights should ever lead to a point at night where people are not talking. I mean, the next day.
It's better to not talk and, you know, sleep over it than it is to fight all night long too, though.
But you can still hug each other, and kiss each other and say,
I agree.
Okay, it's like on that show.
That's
is it Yellowstone? I think we don't really watch that show, but I know there was a clip all the time where the girl, the blonde girl and the guy with the beard, and she's like fuck you, whatever. Okay, I'll see you inside, right? And she walks over and gives him a kiss and goes inside.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like that. And they love each other, but you can fight, like bicker and stuff. Just, you know, take it easy. Take it easy. Yeah. Yep.
When do we want to get into the co-parenting thing?
Ooh.
Co-parenting stepkids. That's a challenging one. Like, and I don't care who you are, because dynamics of families are so different from one another. There is no right answer. And
no, because most kids with the two houses, well, I wouldn't say most kids have 4 parents either. So sometimes there's 4 parents, so there's 4 different things, and that's extremely hard.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't grow up with that. You did.
I did. My parents were divorced when I was like 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah. Just,
yeah, so if you guys think you're going to be together and you're going to have kids together and try to do that thing, that's a conversation you want to have right off the bat and be on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not right off the bat, but, you know,
I'm
use
saying,
common sense.
Yes, but I'm saying if you guys know that you want to be together and your relationship is at the point where you know you're going to be together the long haul, that conversation needs to happen.
Yep, I agree.
It has to be as similar as possible, but no kid is alike, so there's going to be a little differences.
Yep.
But for the things that are, you know, like responsibility for ages and all that kind of stuff.
Consistency. That was probably, you know, that's probably one of the most difficult things for me included. Not, you know, it's always a battle, because staying consistent as a parent is so exhausting. You know, parenting is exhausting. And I think so many parents nowadays, they're just like, here's a tablet for 6 fucking hours and your kid disappears. All right, it's time for bed. Let's brush your teeth. And like,
or
parents just throwing the towel.
It definitely is an electronic issue. It's like, you want breakfast? Here's your tablet. Oh, you want lunch? Here's your tablet. Oh, you don't want that for dinner? Well, here's something else. But here, your tablet might make you feel better.
Or phone or whatever, you know, like especially at the table, like that's
Let's talk as a family.
So important. Yeah. And I heard the brain fart, Duck Dynasty guys. I heard Phil or whatever his name is. I heard him talking. I never realized how smart that guy is, first of all. But I listened to him talk about how their show went viral and people talked about how much it meant that they ate at the table together. And that is something, it's so weird. It's so strange of how powerful that is. And I notice it every time we have the kids, and like, you know, now like, you know, Taylor's, or I'll cut that out. The kids are in college and, you know, or elsewhere. And it's like,
Yeah.
you realize how quick that seat at your kitchen table becomes empty. And
well, you notice how quieter and quieter and
yeah,
quieter it gets. And it's
as the kids get older,
very sad. It like makes me want to tear up right now thinking about it. I just,
yeah, you know,
it's really, really weird.
it is really weird. But in the same time, like, just, you know, don't take for granted those moments and have your family talk your kids in. Like, man, that's one thing this year has taught me. I talking your kids in. That's like
saying goodnight.
I had an uncle that said something to me. I think about 6 months or a year ago, and like he said something specifically about that. And this individual was always just one of the best fathers, if not the best father I've ever known in my entire life. And you know, he talked to me about that, and I really applied that to my life, and I see it in my kids. You know, I try to do my best. And
it's like before bed, having little things that you do before the kid goes to sleep, you know, like reading the joke book that our son loves to read is everything. And it's like our thing. And we laugh and we are like, oh, that one was good. Or, I got that one. You know, it's just, I hope forever he remembers that. And it's little stuff like that do with your kids, because it's almost like no matter how tired you are, go tuck them in, go talk to them, read for 3 minutes, just anything. And they'll remember it forever.
I believe so. Yeah. And
the dinner table thing. I grew up eating at the dinner table all the time at both houses.
Yeah.
And, you know, good food. And I remember that. And when you're young, you're just like, whatever. But when you're older, it really means a lot.
Yeah.
You ate dinner all the time at like family dinner every night.
Yep. And we ate whatever we were eating, you know, it was like, you know,
yeah.
And then a lot of kids nowadays, they get choices, and I'm just like, okay, you know, a lot of kids, I've seen a lot of kids that just eat nothing but trash, and their parents just, it's easy. It goes back to consistency. Yeah. Parents are like, oh, much easier. Does every kid want to eat healthy? Absolutely not. That's our job as a parent to facilitate that, though.
Well, it's hard. Like, I don't always want to eat healthy, but I know it's like, I need to get some healthy food in there, and you feel better and stuff. And limiting the electronics is actually, I feel like our kids feel like if we tell them go outside for a while,
they almost seem like they hate it initially, but they love it when they're like, every time I take the kids running or doing something like that, you know, especially my older one, like, you know, as much as I didn't want to, I'm really happy we did it. Every time they feel like that. Every time. And it's like, you know, and like me too. And I tell them that, I'm like, you know, I say to my kids, I'm like, do me a favor. You may be adding a couple years onto my life. You know, if you ever want to work out, do anything, drag me along. I will not say no. I promise you, which there's going to be times when I regret that, because I think the kids are kind of becoming more into the whole physical thing.
Definitely. I just bought jump ropes a few weeks ago, and I don't think I jump roped since like high school, probably like elementary school, maybe. And I did it with our daughter, and it was so much fun. And our youngest, he is the king of jump roping, apparently. He's very fancy and can crisscross and everything. And that was fun. And he loved showing us how to do it. He was just having a grand old time. And you can be, you know, do the fitness thing and have fun.
If you do that fitness thing too, if you're going through hard times, like, why don't you get off your ass and do stuff and go outside and run? And like, I don't care how heavy or whatever your reasons are, if your health reasons to not do anything, like, you can still walk.
Yeah, but people are like, oh, I can't run. Like, actually, so I used to run a little bit back in the day before I even knew you existed. And I did really good. I worked out for a while, stopped obviously, but he got me running and loving it.
And I hated it too. I just did it for the military. And then over time, it's very therapeutic.
There's progress, though. I had to stop in like 1 mile. I had to stop like probably 10 times. Okay, 5.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, 5. Maybe like 5. But now it's like, if I push myself, I know it probably doesn't sound a lot to like the runners. Like, some of my friends are like runners and they go for miles.
Yeah.
But if I run for like 2 miles and don't stop, I'm like, yes.
We could do, like, if we push ourselves, we do more than that, because we also got into hiking pretty big. And
yes.
Like,
oh my gosh.
You never hiked a day in your life, and I took you to the second highest mountain in New York. And remember,
that was oh my gosh, it was so hard, but it was like, so rewarding.
Yeah, that's another thing. I've actually really wanted to touch on this in a podcast. I just didn't know when, but I guess it's pretty fitting. A lot of people like to cut out the journey. Like people, for example, like people like to ride motorcycle or car to the top of a mountain, which, you know, like Whiteface Mountain, you can ride car up there, which is cool. I'm not knocking that.
Yeah.
But like so many people like, oh, why would you want to hike? Like, I don't want to do that.
Okay,
stuff.
so it's kind of like when you said like cutting out the journey, it's like people want to just have, you know, they just want money. So what's the journey to get money that you want?
Yeah.
You need to work for it.
Yeah, people want the end result in life with everything. Oh,
people want to lose weight. They just want to lose weight.
Like that could apply to sex. That could apply to everything. Everybody wants the end result. Nobody wants to enjoy the experience. Instant gratification,
right? Yeah. And that's not life. Life is to show you lessons and have you learn. And if you don't learn, you're going to repeat that lesson until you know it in your heart. So
if you can start appreciating the journey and doing things, you'll look at life entirely different. If you can start appreciating the mundane things, like, you know, when I was going for my little run today, it was such a beautiful day, great day to be home. But you know, it was beautiful, and like I'm looking at everything, is stupid leaves, and you know, the reflection off the water. The dogs are loving it, and I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'm happy I'm in a place right now in my life where I'm able to appreciate every aspect of my life, no matter how shitty things are, how unfair they are.
I feel like people just need to get connected to Mother Nature
and to each other.
Oh, and to each other. So like, grab your significant other tonight. And if it's supposed to be clear night tonight, because it has been the last couple of nights.
I'm not going outside.
No, listen. You go outside, and if it's a clear night, look at the stars, and you just get this like whoosh of like peace.
I hope so. I hope there's nobody that cannot look up at stars and just be like, and just not care in the world. Like
who? Okay, then they're not real people, because people 100%. Should be connected. You definitely. You just get a feeling of love and peace and happiness, and you don't want it to stop.
You know, if anybody's watching this and they're single, like, it might make it really depressing. I'm just thinking of that now. Like, for those people, you gotta have hope. I truly believe there's somebody for everybody. I don't care who you are. I know a lot of people that are miserable, that have been through bad relationships, and they talk like, oh, I know there's no one for me. I'm X amount of years old.
Say something. Yeah. So when we got married, my sister said something to me that made me like really start crying, because I have been in the worst shit relationship you could actually possibly imagine. Yeah. And she said, you feel like you were never worthy of love. And that just like hurt my heart really bad, because that's actually like kind of how I felt, I guess. Like, no one's going to love me. Like, I'm this loser. I've got 2 kids. I live in my mom's basement. Who's ever going to even look at me? And then I found
a lot of people, even if you had a shitty personality, a lot of people look at you.
Damn.
I'm just saying.
I love you. But then this guy is like, you're the most perfect thing, and you love me, and you, oh my gosh, you show me that you love me all the time. Every single day you do stuff to show me that you love me so much. And it's something that I never ever thought in a million zillion years that I would ever find.
Yeah, same here.
Ever. And that makes me want to cry right now, because there's someone out there looking for you, just like you are looking for them. And if you're in a relationship that's struggling, if it's meant to be, you guys are going to find your way. You have to fight for each other.
But you've got to put effort in. Like, people just expect everything to be okay with no effort, you know?
Yeah. I'm
going to be a broken record with that.
Yeah, I know. It's the effort. It's the effort.
People don't realize how much shit they can take in control, and they can actually change. There's a lot of things that are out of your control, but those are the things I've learned that, you know, like I've said before, not to dwell on the things out of your control. If you can take that focus and focus on things that are in your control, that you do have control of, or at least you have a way where you can at least influence things, the possibilities are limitless, like legitimately limitless.
You know, it's honestly, and I'm just going to be straightforward, it's the little things, you know, guys, if your girl, or guys, if your boys, whatever, are in the kitchen cooking or something, grab their freaking ass. Just be like, babe, you're freaking hot. I love you. You know, and girls, like, do the same thing to your men. Just grab that tushy, and it just literally, that would make anyone's day. Right?
I don't know her.
Yes. It's just the little things. Right? It really is, because you do that stuff too, and I'm just like, it's little things.
I agree.
It is. And make breakfast in bed in the morning sometimes. Make that coffee.
Yeah, I always do that.
Am I sleeping still when you do that?
I have a handful of times.
I'm just kidding. He does actually sometimes. Yeah, you do sometimes. And I do too. And I did last weekend for you.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I did. It's just literally a little effort. I mean, a little effort is a lot.
Yeah, but if you put in a little effort, not even a lot of stuff, you do something small every day, I'm telling you, it'll transform everything around you.
Yeah.
If you apply that to everything, you apply that to eating a little better, just exercise a tiny bit more, just make one decision every day. It's just cool because it's like a 1% change over, every day over 365 days. I heard this on a podcast, but it's just says, you will be so much better off than you were 365 days ago, and 1 year of your life to change incredibly, like beautifully. It's cool.
It is definitely cool. Love your person. If you don't, that's okay. Change it. Change your life if you're not happy.
Was there any other subjects you want to talk about?
I just wanted to focus on that stuff today, I think.
Okay.
Just the little stuff in life.
The only thing I'm going to probably cut out of this was the name you dropped by accident, but it's all right.
Oh, okay. What was that? What did I say?
I got this coffee cup that's called the Unt cup. I don't know what letter is underneath my hand, you can guess, but it's Monica's old cup.
Got it from my old job.
Sure. Anyway, you guys have a good night.
Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, stay positive, people.
Next time. Yeah, stay positive. Communicate with your loved one and, don't stop.
Yeah.
Keep going.
If I can stay positive, and anybody can, it's so easy. It's a choice. So
definitely. Train your mind.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys have a good night. Take care.